Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to show you how to stop clients from churning and to basically keep clients forever. Because the number one reason that's probably screwing you over right now is client leaving. You keep signing client, but they keep leaving and you're like in this basically hamster wheel where you cannot scale your agency because of that. So in this video, I'm going to show you the strategies and system that I've built with my own agency to keep clients basically forever. We have clients that have been working with us for 2 years, almost 3 years at this point, and every single new client that we sign, end up staying with us for a very long time. So I'm going to show you all the stuff that I've implemented. I used to lose clients, after 30 days, and now they stay 6 months, 8 months, or 1 year, 2 years. And that's the only way you can scale your agency. So I'm basically going to share with you the system and strategies in this video, from implementing lots of check-in calls, to building strong relationship with clients, to delivering incredible results to clients, to basically having a clear SOP as to what to do when clients wants to leave and how to resell them. And if they do leave, how to get them back very soon after they left. So I'm going to share all that with you. If you don't know who I am, my name is Theo Iluz. I've grown my own SMMA in the medical spa niche. We work with med spas in the UK right now. We currently have 30 active clients, and we've worked with over 150, 160 clinics overall. So I have a little bit of experience in that industry, in the SMMA world. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So first of all, clients usually leave for one or two things, and they're equally as important. The first one is the relationship, and the second one is results. You cannot just have one. If you have great result but no relationship, your churn will be bad, client will leave. If you only have the relationship but not the results, they will eventually leave. And both of these components are extremely important. And the first thing I want to start this video with is setting the right expectations and onboarding the right client in the first place. We used to onboard everyone and anyone, and to have these stupid guarantees and overpromise them on the initial call. And even if you do everything right, even if you're the best agency in the world, if you overpromised and you sold them because of that, even if you're the best in the world, because you told them something that you didn't deliver on, they will churn and they will not be happy. So the first thing that you have to do to prevent churn is to sell people with the most realistic expectation you can possibly sell them on. And a lot of people, when I was a bit newer in the game, I thought that this would turn a lot of people off, because if I tell them the truth, the unsexy truth, I thought that they wouldn't close, because another agency owner might gonna sell them the dream, and some will fall for it. And that's true, some will fall for it, but the ones that will fall for it are not the clients you want to basically work with anyway. And here's the thing: if you sell with ethic and honesty on the sales call, and you tell someone, look, most agencies are going to sell you this dream. They're going to tell you you can have X, Y, and Z results, and they're going to give you maybe this crazy guarantee. But I could tell you that if I really wanted to earn your business, I could tell you that. But we have a policy. We want to sell with ethic, and we don't want to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear to start up this relationship in the right way. So realistically, the first months, here are the results you're going to get. I know it doesn't sound as sexy as you'd like it to sound, but that's the hard truth. And I could bump up those figures, but I don't want you to be disappointed. Months 2, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get better results because X, Y, and Z. Month 3, so you see, you can be as honest. You don't even want to, if there's a realistic case scenario that you think your client's going to go through, ideally try to set them up for, close them with something that you believe with figures that are what you believe are gonna, you want to undersell them. That's what I'm trying to say. If you think you can get them 20 appointments in the first month, tell them they're only going to get 10 or 15. So that way you start as low as possible. And I promise you, that's going to make it so much easier for them to stay working with you. So that's number one. Sell with ethics, and it's not because you sell like this that clients are going to be turned off. Actually, if you do it well, that's actually going to help you build trust. They're going to be like, oh, thank you for being honest. All these marketing agencies are telling me crazy stuff. I don't know who to believe, but you seem, even though what you told me is not incredible, I trust you. And you're going to outperform everyone. It's like a win-win for everyone. Win for the client, they get the right expectation. Win for you, you build trust with the client, they're most likely to close. And win for everyone, because you're going to keep working with the client longer because you've set the right expectation in the first place. So that is so important. Number one thing you can do to prevent churn, it's this. Second thing is try to sell clients PIFs. PIF stands for pay in full. Instead of closing them for 30 days, close them for 45 days or 90 days or even more. So although a lot of people in the local lead gen, I guess, industry or in general, they've been burnt in the past, so that's hard for them to start by committing with 90 days or even like 180 days. But some people will close on these packages if you frame it well, if you're good at sales, and you buy yourself retention if you do that. So PIFs, very good way to obviously retain clients, especially when you're very confident you can deliver. So that's the second thing, PIFs. Now, the third thing that I want to mention here is just delivering client incredible results. And if you're like me in the local lead gen business, I work with medical spa, but you may work with gyms, with chiropractors, you name it, you just gotta be really good at delivering and put all your focus there, because ultimately, you're in the game of delivering results. And if you just do things the way I do, which is lead generation, and you also have a call center to call your clients leads, you got to build a really good system and hire the really good talent to get good results for clients. And lead generation is the easy part. Of get a media buyer, and honestly, generating leads is easy, but converting the leads and helping your clients actually make money and have a course system and training for your clients so they can make as much money as possible, and solve problems that they have even like outside of like what you offer. That's going to be really where the money is. Just putting all your focus on hiring good media buyer, good appointment setters, and ramping them up fast, managing them well. And I've made all the videos on how to build good call centers, so you can check them out if you want to. There's actually the first video in this channel is called it goes over like my whole service delivery process, so you can go check it out if you want to. But service delivery is absolutely crucial, and you got to crack the code on that. That's the number thing you really got to crack the code on. And you also have to be good at like relationship. So if you're like the client success manager, or if you hire your client success manager, you have to find someone that is good at sales. Client success manager is a sales job. A lot of people think it's like a customer support type of job where you're just nice. Of course, you want to have someone that has ethics, and you want someone that truly cares about the clients. That's very important. And someone that can navigate difficult situation and that can negotiate things correctly and call the client out on their on what they do wrong, because sometimes they have like wrong beliefs, and you need to be able to really help them, ensure that you're here for them. You need to also be good at speed to response. Like when a client asks you a question, you respond them immediately, and you're a problem solver, and you really get out of your way to show that you care. Sometimes it's not so much about how do you say, delivering results. Sometimes it's about showing that you are trying to get them results. So even if the results are not amazing, if you proactively show the client that you're trying your very best, they will oftentimes keep paying you money, because they're like, we are on our way up here. Like, there's problems, we fix them. There's problem, we fix them. So they will give you extra shots all the time because you are trying. But if the client feel you're stagnating, even if the results are amazing, if they feel like there's things not going up, they're just stagnating, or worse, if they think like you're not giving them attention and things are going down, even if the results were like incredible, like they will start churning because they need to feel like things are improving. So that's important that's what's going to help you with building the relationship. Also, like sending end of week reports, that's something that can really help you. Whatever you're doing with the client, be as transparent as humanly possible with them. Don't do your thing in the back end and just be, even if it's a small change in the campaign, you just change the targeting, like from 15 kilometers to 12 kilometers. Send a message to the client and tell them why you are doing that, because they will feel like, oh, these guys are working. They tend to think like nothing is happening if you don't proactively tell things. So over communicate with clients, have at least two touch points with them per week. If you can, like even daily touch points can be good. Monthly check-in call is also very important. You can't just speak with them via Slack or WhatsApp. You want to speak with them face to face. And that's the thing that, like, unfortunately made us like lose one or two clients last month, is like my clients manager wasn't perhaps just taking enough check-in calls with clients to just check on them and see how they're doing. And what it allows you to do, to have these check-in calls, it allows you to diagnose what they're not happy with before they let you know. Because if they're really not happy about something, by the time they tell you, it's already kind of like damaged the relationship. But if you're proactive about this and you get on a check-in call at least every 30 days and you say, hey Mr. X, how's everything going on your side? Here's just a summary of the results we got over the last 30 days. We got you X amount of bookings, X amount of leads. How's everything on your end? Anything we can help you with, let us know. Like if you do that, you're proactive. You're proactively trying to fix problems before they even arise. And that's how you prevent churn. So you really show proactivity about trying to help them. And even if like you get on check-in call and it wasn't productive, you didn't do anything, just a matter of fact that they can speak to you and put like a human face behind the company, it just really helps, because in the end, like this is a relationship is 50% of the results, of keeping clients, and the other 50% is results. But it's really like 50-50. And for some clients, they're going to value the relationship even more than results. All the clients, they're going to value results over relationship. But you got to take care of these two things. Another thing you can do is just send gifts to client. We haven't gotten there yet. Actually, one of my previous clients manager used to send gifts to like at least one client that I'm aware of, but it was more personal. We don't really have a system around it, but I know that some agencies do, and that's something we might going to start implementing in the future. Like some flowers, to a client. Hey, clients, to celebrate our first 3 months together. It's an absolute pleasure to be working with you. And just send them some flowers or bottle of wine, whatever you want. That's always amazing. Clients just absolutely love it. But I haven't done it yet, so I can't tell. But you got to consider client as like friends. Obviously business is business, but if you can have a friendship with them in some way, you or your client success manager, that's going to be much harder for them to leave, because they're attached not only to, I guess, results, but also to the person, And I remember when I had my first client success manager, like a lot of clients, like even though our results were pretty bad back then, a lot of clients didn't leave because of the client success manager, because she was always getting out of her way to, answer clients at any time of the day, even on Sundays, even if it's like super late, she would like answer immediately and like really care for the client. And I remember like on some calls they were saying, hey, Theo, just to be honest, I'm only staying because of this person. I'm not staying because of you, because your agency is great. I'm staying because I believe in her. I believe she will get out of her way to help. And they put her face in her. So whoever is in direct whoever is speaking to the client has such a big impact on retention. And it's important to have like a client success manager that has this kind of like really care about results, but it's also important to have someone that has a background in sales, because in the end, a client success manager has to be a salesperson. How can I squeeze the juice and make as much money as possible from every client. In the end, we're a business. We have to think about ourselves first, and of course we gotta, because if we don't make revenue, we can't help our client make revenue. We got to be a profitable business, right? So how can I find a way to upsell clients, packages of like staying with us for 3 months, 6 months? If you have a good client manager that understands sales and you incentivize them properly to upsell clients all the things, or like whether it's just getting testimonials, referrals, or upselling like bigger packages, like to make more money up front, you got to find someone and have a clear SOP and system around this, because it's really, there's different priorities as far as client manager, but the revenue generating activities are always a top priority. Second priority is going to be things like client retention. Third priorities is going to be like other things that I can go over in another video. But yeah, basically, so let me check my notes to see what else I want to talk about. Diagnose problem. Yeah, and so there's a lot of things that are important, but like so far we covered, getting good results for clients. We covered relationship. But what happens when a client is saying, look, enough is enough, I want to leave, I want to give my notice? And you should, by the way, have at least a 2 weeks notice, if clients want to leave. So just to make sure, you're covered, they don't just disappear out of nowhere. What to do then? Well, you need an SOP. You need to schedule, like in your contract, you need to have a clause that says for you to cancel, you need to get on a exit call, and you need to fill out an exit form. So that way, when someone wants to cancel, you say, okay, great, but as per the contract, we need to get on the Zoom call first. And then on the Zoom call, you're here to try to save them as much as possible. And the way you want to frame it, you don't want to be confrontational. That's a mistake that my client manager was doing, a bit too confrontational, and say, oh, you're saying this, but the truth is that. And the client is not going to be happy if you just tell them that. You got to give them what they want to hear, and then you got to reframe. So the principle that you want to use is, how do you call it? Agree and reframe. That's like a communication strategy that's going to help you basically get the clients on your side. If the client says you something, even if they're completely wrong, and you say, hey, client name, you're wrong. Here is how it is. You're not going to put them on your side. You have to first agree and say, I hear you, understand, and have empathy with them. You're right. Even if they're completely wrong, you got to be careful how you word it, but just have empathy for them. Let them shout at you if they're angry about something. And then once they're done with that, you can then reframe. You agree and then reframe. Okay, I understand, client, but here's my point of view. And then what you want to do is, when the client is angry for anything, you just want to show them how you're going to solve problem. So there's always reasons why clients are angry and want to leave. Perhaps poor results, perhaps they say something you didn't listen, perhaps they had a bad experience with the customer, perhaps, I don't know, they don't like the quality of your ads, whatever that might be. You want to say, understood. That's the problem. Here's my solution to fix this. Okay, let's say you have 3 problems. Let's talk about problem 1. You say X, Y, and Z. Here's how I propose to fix it. Problem number 2, you say this. Here's my solution to fix it. Problem number 3, that's what you said. Here's my solution. So if you come up with solutions, clients will most likely stay, because in the end, like, they want to feel like, you're trying to solve their problems. And if the client comes with like 3 problems and you say, these problems are fake. Nah, don't worry. It's totally normal. Like, even if you're right, that's not what they want to hear. And they say, what do you mean? No, they're like, no, I don't want that. I'm going to go with another agency. And it could be that they're not educated enough. But if you come at them too raw, too straightforward, that can sometimes backfire. So that's the strategy we use. Agree and reframe, and just propose solution. And oftentimes, you'll get them back. They'll say, they'll shout out you, be angry, because obviously that's their business. If they're not happy about something and lose money, there's a lot of things, that they're business owners, they're humans, and they can lose money sometimes. So that's stressful. But if you come up with solution and you say, okay, look, we're gonna they say the quality of the leads is poor, so we're going to make new creative. We're going to add some filtering question on the form. We're going to change the radius. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. You say that, the clients don't convert into packages. So we're going to tell our appointment setters to never mention that they can do one session. They have to do 4 sessions minimum. We're going to add some filtering question again on the form. And we're going to just make it a point, like mandatory for people to get booked in for like this amount of session or whatever. Okay, like I'm talking about my industry right now. Might not be relatable to everyone, but you get the point. Find solutions, and oftentimes that's going to fix it. If it doesn't fix it, sometimes, also the clients are not aware of numbers. That's a big one that I saw, that we almost lost some of our clients that we worked for like two to 3 years, just because they weren't aware of numbers. They weren't keeping track of the numbers. We got them incredible results. And because the business owner is a mess, she wasn't keeping track of the numbers. We tell them, you got to update the tracking sheet on this Google sheet that we made for you. When we bring you a customer, let us know, write down how much they spend. They weren't doing that. And then my client's manager didn't really know back then how to handle that situation. And I got pissed because we're like, giving this client amazing result, one of the best clients, and was like, you guys are not getting us appointments. I just look at the number as I was like, what the hell? Like, you guys are like actually doing very well. And then I just pick up the phone, try to call the business owner, no response, called again, no response, called again a couple hours later, and I finally managed to get a hold of her. By the way, you got to be aggressive. If someone complains, you got to call them, or and just like call them many times, because these are business owners. Don't just call them once a day and be like, oh, they didn't answer. And then just be like, hey, what's going on? We got you 30, 40 appointments last month. And she was like, no, you didn't. And I was like, yes, we did. Like, look at the numbers on the sheet. And then she was like, oh, really? But this person that told me that it is not the case, told me that we had like X amount of results. And that person was like her employee, like that was a staff who didn't care about reporting numbers properly because she had no incentive. She didn't care about the marketing agency. And turns out, the bottleneck was this person from her staff who wasn't doing her job in reporting numbers. And then we had a call, we clarified the situation, and now we kept the client, and she's been with us for like almost 3 years at this point. I'll need to double check the numbers. But yeah, just being clear on the reporting, and making it mandatory, and holding your client accountable into like updating the report, the numbers as to how much money they make. That's going to help you also remove emotion out of the situation, because oftentimes they just don't know what's going on. They're like, I'm not making any money. And sometimes that's the case, and in that case you could figure out a solution to it. But you just got to make sure that this conclusion came from actual real number, not just what's in their head. But sometimes they'll say, I'm not making any money, but they actually are. They just don't keep track of the numbers. So you got to figure that out and just help them with that. Now, last thing I want to cover in this video is what to do when a client actually says, look, enough is enough. You're not going to basically, I still want to leave. Like, what happens in that case? We have like an SOP where my closer, high ticket closer, the person who closed the client in the first place, will cold call the client many times just to try to a last attempt at reclosing the client. Because sometimes they just need a different point of touch. Sometimes, for any reason, ego got involved. Maybe your client's manager just didn't handle the situation the best way. They want to speak with someone else, and they just need to have an external point of view, an external person who's going to basically try to help and mitigate the situation. So you could have your closer come in, or anyone else, a different point of view, sometimes help relieve tension. We've had it in the past where there's problem between the client's manager and the client. Perhaps they didn't say something in the wrong way, and that turned them off, and someone else got involved, fixed the situation, the client left, stayed. Another thing that can help is, if you made a mistake and it's on you, you can give like free extensions, like 2 weeks extension, something like that, and say, look, I know results weren't good for the last 14 days. So what we want to do is we want to give you a free 2 weeks extension. Obviously you cover the ad spend, but you don't pay us anything, because we really believe we can turn things around, and we want to prove ourselves in the next 2 weeks. And then you just kind of have to figure out a realistic number of like results that you can bring during those 2 weeks for the client to stay, and to say, okay, clients, if we get you these results during the next 2 weeks, will you consider renewing? If they say yes, and the results align with what you think you can bring, then you can just give them the extension. But be careful, because if you don't set the expectations for the 2 weeks extension, or even 30 days extension, if that's what you want to do, clients may take advantage of it. We've had it in the past where clients say, yeah, sure, they took the extension, but they had absolutely no intention of staying. And you just got to make sure like that doesn't happen. So yeah, that really helps. Have someone else reach out and for like a reclose, a last attempt. And you need to have a culture in your agency where losing client is not it's not allowed. It's not something like, oh, we lost a client, oh, it's okay, we got 5 more that are coming in anyway. Like, it takes so much time to onboard a client, to get them results, and it's so much involved. First of all, you have to pay for the ad spend, you have to pay for the closer, for everyone. It takes so much time, so it's so much effort. You better be off finding ways to keep your clients rather than constantly trying to close new clients. It's just, you have to have both, to be honest, like new clients coming in, but just keep your damn client. That's absolutely crucial. And yeah, if they wanted to leave anyway, you want to send them an exit form and collect feedback. Okay, what did you like about our services? What did you not like? Why did you leave? And then you want to say, okay, how would you rate these? And then you would say like client communication, ad quality, this, that, every metric that you can track. You want them to give a note, so that way you could see why they left. And if they say, okay, ad quality, and they rated it as a 4 out of 10 or 3 out of 10, you can go back to your media buyer and say, hey, just so you know, client left you like a 3 out of 10. So that way that holds your whole team accountable. We have a thing where it says client communication. So if a client were to say 2, I can go back to my client manager and say, hey, this client left you at 2 in terms of communication. What's going on? So that's important to have something like that. And then they're going to tell you, like if obviously they fill out the exit form, they'll tell you, okay, I left because X, Y, and Z. And then when you lose clients, you can really see what are the patterns, and then focus on that to make sure you solve that, and you don't have that problem in the future. So these are my tips. Honestly, I'm sure there's a bunch of others, but these are the things that personally helped me. Right now we're at a point where our churn is actually really low. I would love to give you a specific number, but I haven't calculated yet like what's our churn. It's probably around 10% to anywhere between 5 to 10%. That would be my guess. But yeah, just make sure you close clients, clients that you can actually help, because none of the things that I just mentioned are actually going to make sense if you don't close the right type of client in the first place. So for us, we have we work with med spas, right? And we have a couple criteria. We won't work with a client if they're not open yet, obviously, but if they don't offer the treatments that we can help them with, or if they don't have at least 3 days available per week where they open at their clinic, and yeah, if they don't offer any treatment that's above a certain amount of money, we won't work with them, because we know that the chances of getting them results is very low. So you gotta be, I know when you start, it's just kind of you feel like scarcity, so you want to close everyone, but eventually you gotta reach to that point where you're just okay, I'm only gonna help these people, and that's also what's really going to help your churn, just getting the good clients in the first place. And the thing that helped me with that is just spending more on ads. You spend more on ads, you can allow yourself to filter out clients more, because you get more leads, more sales calls, and therefore you just don't operate out of scarcity, and you can just say no to a bunch of people and say yes to the people you really want to work with. And if you come at me and you tell me, but Theo, I would want to spend more on ads, but I don't have the budget, I'm increase your price then. If you don't have the budget to spend more on ads, that means you're not charging enough. and that not charging enough will then, create that scarcity where you're going to start trying to work with everyone. And it's like, again, a hamster wheel where, you keep churning clients because you don't charge enough, and therefore you're scared. You have this scarce mindset. So there's a bunch of stuff that get into it, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that video. If you did, please leave a like, comment. If you have any question, I'll do my best to answer you. Subscribe if you enjoyed it as well. If you want to work with me one-on-one, I do take on some clients. The way I can help you is simple. If you're around 5 to 10K per month, you close at least a couple clients, you have maybe anywhere between 3 to 5 or 10 clients, and you want to basically scale, build up your team, increase client retention, build a good call center, or just bump up client acquisition. If these are some of the problems you have, just book a call with me. There's a link in the description of this video. You'll be speaking with me directly, and I'll see if I can help you. But if you're completely starting from scratch, you haven't signed any clients, you're at 0 to 1 or 2K per month, I'm not gonna be able to help you. I only help people that just already have like an agency, a couple clients that just want to get to the next stage. With that said, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.